Welcome to Creative Clarity, Season 2 of the original podcast, Intentional Harmony. Season 2 is all about talking with some of the most creative minds I can get my hands on. These people have two things in common. They're passionate about what they do, and they love to create. From writers, to musicians, to artists, to business entrepreneurs, you're going to learn a ton. My name is Katie Warren, and I'm a creativity coach who helps entrepreneurs stop playing small and start living the life that they love through their creative gifts. Are you stuck in your 9-to-5 job? Maybe feeling like you're not good enough to make a living off of your creative gift? You're looking for more? Maybe even wondering how you can start your own business in a creative industry? Then you are in the right place, my friend. You're going to hear me cover topics all about understanding and improving the creative process. You're also going to hear interviews from amazing creative minds, learning what makes them tick, how they overcome creative blocks, how to generate new ideas, and how to get inspired. Sit back, grab some coffee, and let's get to it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Intentional Harmony, Creative Clarity. I know I say this about every episode, but I am really excited for you guys to hear this interview. I'm talking to Hattie. She goes by Hattie B, and we connected over a women entrepreneur group on Facebook. And I'm so glad she was excited to come on and talk to me today because she has a wealth of knowledge. She is so creative, so inspiring. So I hope you just soak all of this up. Hattie is a creator, a mom, a wife, a published author, a poet, a songwriter, a game maker, an aspiring screenwriter, an idea strategist, and a romance planner, among other things. Did you follow? She does a lot. Through her many interests and talents, she plans to touch the world through her creativity, and although she works a 9-to-5, she doesn't let that stop her from pursuing her many dreams. She understands what matters is in the details, and she aims to spread love, break generational curses, and inspire people. Guys, I have no idea how she finds time to do all of these things, and she does them so well, but I love it. I love all of it. So I'm gonna just let her blow you away with all of her creativity and ideas and stories. Without further ado, Hattie B.
It's really important that you create because it's something that you want to do, and that's something that you're pushed to do, because when it's something that you're not dedicated to or you don't have passion or drive for, it does not come out the same, and it's not as authentic as something that you create because that's what you wanted to create. And regardless of how people will receive it, if they do or don't receive it, that isn't what's important. What's important is that the creativity came from you, and you'll find your tribe of people that like what you do.
So just jumping into this thing, like, you do so many things. It's amazing. Reading your bio, looking at your Instagram, looking at your podcast, like, where did it all start? Like, take me back to the beginning.
To the way beginning, huh?
Yeah.
So, as a child, I used to write a lot, actually. I thought that I started writing as a teenager, around 13. But then my mom pulled up some stuff, and I've been writing since I was in second grade. It's my first poetry book. So I used to write to kind of just escape the regular day and the mundane things or whatnot. And that's kind of how I started, and expressing myself through there. That was like my place of freedom. And that kind of just grew into something. And I never thought that that would be the thing that I would share with the world. I like planning events, and I like everything that it took to plan an event. So that's what I wanted to share. My mom kept pushing the writing thing. And so I ended up publishing my first book just so I didn't have to dedicate it to her, if she passed. And I wanted it to be something that next time that she called me, I wanted to say, it's on Amazon. Don't ask me. So that's how I got into really writing and creating and just finding my creative voice.
Yeah, I love it. So did you always like write songs too, or did it initially start out as like poetry and just like literature, or like when did it flip?
So the songwriting is new and not, in a way. So I actually started writing poems, and I didn't even like to call them that. I just like to call them thoughts. I call myself a thought writer. So I just wrote whatever came to my mind, like anything. It didn't matter what it was, and I would just write. And then when I was younger, I loved Brandy as a singer. And so I wrote a song that I'm like, oh, she would kill it if she just sang these words for me. And then I kind of just didn't do anything more. And I just kept writing my usual style, like poetry, I guess. And then recently, maybe 2 years ago, I got a new friend, and she is a singer. And she asked me, and she knew that I was a writer. And so she was having like some writer's block, and she asked me if I could help her finish her song. So I helped her. That became a collaborative thing. And then she went and sang that song at a wedding, and that is going to be actually on Netflix.
Amazing. The wedding is going to be on Netflix?
Yep. And the song. So my first song that I co-wrote is going to actually be on Netflix.
So how do you feel about that? Because that's pretty amazing.
It is you know what? My heart was just like, oh my goodness. But at the same time, I felt like that wasn't really my creative thing. It's more so hers, just because all I did was lend a little hand, and I felt I'm going to be super excited because we actually decided to join forces and become a writing duo, because she does the melodies and she sings, and then I write. So we actually formed a duo called The Lioness Den, and I'm excited about that. So we actually have an artist that we're getting ready to write for right now. We got them yesterday. So I'm excited.
Amazing. That is so cool. So it sounds like you've always kind of had that like creative bug in you.
Yeah.
What was like the initial vision? Like, what did you initially think you'd be doing?
Initially, I thought that I was going to be planning events, to be honest with you. My best friend at the time, got married at a very young age. We were 18 when she got married, and she needed so much help. I was living in Washington and she was in Illinois, so I had to fly back to Illinois to help her out. And I ended up just kind of taking on all the tasks. She was not feeling it. She was just laying in the bed. She's like, she didn't feel like doing all this. So I told her, you know what, go back to sleep because you're acting really groggy. And I took the list and I did everything. And that's when I found out that I enjoyed it. So by the time she got up, I had already had breakfast downstairs for her and everything. I was like, okay, I can do this.
You were in your zone.
Yes, it felt like usually the things that people stress out about, I felt like, no, this is awesome. This is amazing. Like, okay, give me more. Let me do more. But then I found out that breaking into the wedding planning world is extremely difficult. So I had to kind of scale back and start smaller. So I started doing birthdays and baby showers. And then I'm like, okay, I really do like this, but I like the romantic end of things. And so as I kept doing like the baby showers and the birthdays, I said, you know what? No, I'm going to do what I want to do. I want to do romance. And if I can't get into the wedding planning world, I can do it this way. And so I remembered that growing up, I did not see a lot of romantic things. Like my dad didn't bring flowers home to my mom like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't see any sweep her off her feet type things. And I said, that's going to be the thing that I do. I'm going to create those wow moments that just sweep somebody off their feet and have their heart smiling to where
I love that.
you can see it on their face.
I love that. So how long have you been doing your romance planning business?
My business has officially I've been in business for 2 years.
Okay.
Yep. But I've been doing those type of setups for 4 years or so, give or take a little time, couple months.
Yeah. So where did that start? Because it's so unique. I don't think I've quite seen any sort of business like that. So like what generated that idea?
So like I said, with my parents, I didn't see it, right? And I really wanted to get into romance. I love the idea of love. The idea of love fascinates me. I write about it all the time. It's already something that I'm familiar with. Understanding the love languages is already something I'm familiar with. And just people tend to call me when they want to do something romantic. And I kind of just ran with it. And I knew that I wanted to be a part of two events. I either, the ones where you remember it no matter what happens, which is your wedding day and childbirth. Childbirth, I knew I couldn't do. This is beautiful, but every day, no. weddings are
Intense.
more like, you know what I'm saying? You get that connection with people. They're going to remember you, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. And I just wanted to be a part of that. And so this is like my little taste of it versus, and it keeps it intimate versus these big productions, 300 to 1,000, guest weddings and stuff like that. I like the intimate side of things. So I said, what can I do? And you always hear that start where you are with what you have.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of ran with that. I said, okay, if I start where I am with what I have, what do I have? I'm a great writer, so I've been told. I've been writing for a long time. People ask me to write wedding vows and such. So, okay, if I have that, I know how to throw, a look together. I know how to help somebody create that ambiance that they're looking for. I have that. Now, what can I do? And I kind of went from there. And then the romance planning was the next thing. I said, oh, I want to be not only a romance planning company, but I want to be the romance planner, like one you after.
One stop shop. Like you can't even consider anyone else. It's just you.
Yes. And then for intimate weddings, and I'm actually planning a wedding for next year.
You're planning a wedding for next year. That's amazing. And is that the sweetheart wedding that I saw on your website?
Yeah. So we actually needed to change that because that idea was going to help people save money. It was a budget savvy option. It didn't really take that much flight. So I'm actually changing it because I want to do intimate weddings. 30 guests or less is my specialty. If it's 30 guests or less, I got you. Like I can do that. If it starts getting bigger, I know a couple of people, I can definitely send them your way. But the sweetheart weddings was for a lot of people get married on Valentine's Day. So the idea behind that was to have a venue that's already pre-decorated and just fill in the time slots. That way you still get the nice wedding, you still get all the decor and everything like that without the big tag on it or the price tag, because everybody's kind of helping for that one big wedding. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I got that idea from.
I love that. And especially in like the current time that we're in right now, people are needing to shrink down their wedding and like reframe what they initially thought they were going to do. So it's like a perfect storm.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's so funny. My mentor actually pointed that out to me. And I said, that's so crazy because I already loved intimate things before intimate was, something that's kind of forced on you and people are really trying to take it in stride. So I said, this is so crazy. And I said, it would be the year that I decide to take on writing professionally, that the best thing to do would be to, keep planning romantic events. So that was quite funny to me.
Everything is like divine timing. So I'm excited to see where that goes for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So when you started this romance planning business, what was the feedback you got? So I'm guessing it was just you, like one woman show. What was like your family's feedback, your like first clients' feedback? What was that about?
So my family was very much like, you have to do that for me. You need to set this room up for me. You need to plan my wedding. And I'm like, right, our family's pretty big and I don't do productions. So I probably won't be the one to plan your wedding. But if ever, you want to sweep your lover off their feet, hit me up. I'll definitely do a romantic room transformation, which those are my favorite.
Beautiful pictures.
Thank you so much. I love that. Like I truly, outside of writing, I need something that kind of I can put my hands on, like and craft and mold and turn it into something beautiful. So that is my little piece of heaven that I love. As far as customers are concerned, my goal was to get the guys to be more romantic. Turns out most of my customers are women. So I'm like, oh man, okay, this is great. And I had to switch up a lot of things that like my target audience and the people that I was going after and the people that I wanted. I still want to help the guys. I still think that being able to help them still will like make me feel good on the inside. And also I still know that there are a lot of guys, because I know some of them, that struggle with creating that romantic gesture that just woos,
Yeah.
a lot of them don't know where to start. And so I can help with that. But when I found out that most of my clients were women, I was just like, well, I guess women need help too, right? They need a little help in that department. Then there's nothing wrong with that.
Totally, totally. And especially like sometimes we just tend to get overwhelmed by so many ideas. So having someone just like step in, like you know what to do, you know how to get it done, like it's less stressful for sure.
Yes, for sure. And I found that helping them with that, a lot of people have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
They have an idea of where they want to go. It's just the execution. So for some clients that know the look that they're going after, it's just about executing, because before the pandemic, a lot of people just didn't have time. You know, they were working, they got to go pick up the kids, or they got to do this, a lot of running around and a lot of other obligations that stole their time. Yeah. Now people have so much time that they're with each other that they can't execute because the person is always with them. Mm. So now, you know, so it kind of that little flip of still being able to help them execute on the idea.
Yeah. So how does it work when you go in and you decorate? Do you just tell them to like plan 3 hours to just get out and do something else?
Yeah, we definitely have to be on a tight time schedule. So what usually happens is we set up everything. It's kind of that, you know, you've watched any of those like little spy movies where they're like, oh, they're watching them at night and stuff. It's kind of like that. And you're waiting for them to leave so that you could go in because the key's like hidden in this place so you can get in and everything like that. That's what happens. That's pretty much. We set it up. We know a time. They got to be out of the house by that time. They stash the key somewhere for me, or or we meet up ahead of time, which I've done, and they give me the key, and I just wait for that time. So luckily, the spouse or the lover, they don't know what I look like or what's even going on, so I can sit in plain sight and watch them leave.
True.
But I still feel like I need to be a little sneaky, so I'm still like, you know, crouched down in my car, like, you know, they're gone.
The creeper in the bush.
For sure, you know, like, okay, they're gone. We can proceed. We can go on.
That had to have been really intimidating for the first few clients.
It was interesting. It was interesting, and I don't think that it was intimidating, only because I was already doing romantic gestures before, and having to like get in and out of places without being seen, I'm kind of just already good at.
Yeah. You're just sneaky by nature.
A little, in a good way. Definitely in a good way. You know, holding those secrets, because a lot of the times, like for parties and stuff, it's a lot of surprise parties, the romantic dinners, you know, they don't want anybody to know, having to do everything. Everything is a secret. So that also makes my job fun, because it's like they didn't know anything. So that look on their face when they walk in, that's what I'm waiting for. Unfortunately, in my line of work, I don't get to see it because it's a surprise. So I'm in and out, and I'm usually not there when the spouse gets there.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully they take pictures.
Yes, like that would be ideal for them to take pictures. But you know, so many people get lost in the moment, and in my field, you know, rose petals, floor, bed, they're next is all up to them. I doubt that they're thinking about me.
Not your concern after that.
I doubt that they're thinking about me. So, but yeah, so it's wonderful. It's such a wonderful feeling. But I did have the pleasure of seeing a couple of faces, and that really just made it all worth it. The entire reason why I created my business and what I do.
I love it. So, okay, you have to tell me, do you have like a crazy story of something that like happened in this business yet? Okay.
I don't know how crazy it is, but it was really cute. So I went to a hotel. I set up the room, you know, I'm like, okay, my heart is beating, just because I'm always anxious whenever someone's going to see it. And I just want them to be happy. You know, I want them to be like just overwhelmed with joy when they see this and feel loved and appreciated. So the guy actually comes in first, and the guy comes and he doesn't want to step in the room. He doesn't want to step on the pedals. He doesn't want to mess it up. I said, it's okay. The pedals are down. This, I'm not going to save them. It's all right. Come in, you can look around, look in the room. He was like, no, I don't want to. No, this is so beautiful. So he whips out his camera. But he doesn't come. It takes so much convincing to tell him, come on, come see the rest. You can't see everything from the door. You have to actually come in. So he comes in and he's just like, you did all this? I said, yeah. He said, you didn't have help? No, it's just me. And that's my cutest story, because it was so cute.
I love that.
I love his face. His face was everything. Everything.
Talk about fulfillment right there. Like,
yes,
right in the heart.
Yes, it does. It really does. It made me feel so good. So I do want to do way more room transformations and have those intimate weddings. I actually have like this grand plan of owning some land to really get into it and have these intimate events. So that's like my big dream, my ultimate dream on the other end.
Yeah, I love that. So how has it evolved from when you started 2 years ago? Because it doesn't seem like a long time, but in business, that's a very long time, especially when you're just starting out. So how has like the vision evolved?
It still feels new, one. Two, because my big vision came to me first about owning the land and what I wanted to do with that and how I wanted to keep things intimate and exclusive and have just like that hint of privacy where couples can escape to, and it's truly a romantic getaway. That was the first idea. And I had to, again, scale it back to where I am with what I have. And so the romantic room transformations was the scale back. And it's like I wanted plan A, right? But I had to go kind of to like plan F, like just keep going back and bringing it back to where I can make plan A tangible, So right now it's a lot of still maneuvering and pivoting, especially because as I was just getting into it, the pandemic kind of hit. And then granted, my stuff was already intimate, but it's the part where you go into someone's home or in their space that kind of changed how I have to do business now, because, some people just don't feel comfortable. Even I might not feel comfortable because I do have small children. So I try to not go places that I don't have to. Sure. And so I'm pivoting my business right now and kind of just doing some different things and making it to where they have all the things necessary to set it up themselves.
Awesome. Which is really important because everyone's at like varying levels of like feeling comfortable with all of this. So it's nice that you can have those pivotal moments too and kind of adjust your services to what they're comfortable with.
Yes, and that's really important, especially right now. And also especially for me, considering that I am also taking on writing as a profession, and I was looking at all the creative things that I do, and I know that creativity just has to be a part of my day. Otherwise, I do not feel productive at all. And I didn't want to just make books and write books. I wanted to see where writing could really take me. So I really did throw myself into it, and I've created my very own game now.
So I want to talk about that because I am such a game person. So like I'm being a little selfish here with this podcast, but I want you to tell me all the things about that too.
Certainly. So what I'm going to tell you the interesting backstory, and it's interesting to me because it was crazy. So there was this poet, right? So I'm doing these open mics that are on Instagram. Okay. And I see this poet and he does a poem, and it was about lotion. The poet's name is Yours Truly Poetry on Instagram. And he does this poem. And I'm like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? That poem was about lotion. So I'm sitting in my house like, can I write like that? I don't know. I just write. I don't think about it. It just comes out and, it's there on paper. So I'm looking around to see what I could write about. TV's right in front of me. So I write a whole poem about the TV. I go on the open mic the following week, read it, and people are like, are you kidding? it's about a TV, and they're like, okay, that was a good twist. He even comes on there and comments, and I'm like, because he's like my favorite poet now. So I'm just like, oh, that's so cool, So then I write another one. My friend's like, can you write one about cookies? And I said, sure. I write a poem about cookies. I end up doing that on another IG live, and that goes well. Everybody's got the eyebrows raised. So I was like, okay, cool. This is doing well. What else can I do with this? And I was like, make a whole bunch of little poems, turn those into clues. And it's not going to be inappropriate because they're not inappropriate. I'm talking about the thing I'm talking about, which is what made it comfortable for me, because I'm not saying anything, vulgar or anything like that, but how people see it, their perception. So I said, I'm going to turn this into my own version of a game. So then I have my game, and it's called, Oh, That's Nasty, But Is It? And that's how I came up with my game. And now I have an entire deck that is dedicated to these what's a good word? These clever clues. A little spicy.
Amazing. So you can buy them now, correct?
Yes, I'm currently taking pre-orders. I haven't gone into mass production just yet, but I am taking pre-orders on them right now.
Amazing. So what was the process like? Okay, you were creating a game. You never created a game before. So
Never.
How do you figure all the things out?
So it was actually because writing that poem really did help me. Everything was so clear. The vision was clear. I wanted to do it before my birthday. So my birthday was August 9th. And 2 weeks before that, like every free moment that I had, I was just looking up words, looking them up, looking up the actual definition, like in a dictionary, looking up the actual definition, then Googling its uses. And then I created the clues, and I built it all around that. And I just kept doing that for every word that I wanted to use. I just kept doing that and writing out, like I have well over 20 pages of, little notes of all these little clues, and then little circles like, okay, this one is good. Turn this one into an actual full poem because it sounds so cool, and stuff like that. I can actually read you one.
I would love that.
Okay. So here's a clue. I'm going to let you guess too.
Uh-oh, okay.
Okay. He stuffs me down in his pants and pulls me out with his hand. I average in size, and most don't complain.
Okay, read it one more time. This one was like shock factor.
Okay. He stuffs me down in his pants and pulls me out with his hand. I average in size, and most don't complain.
Oh my gosh. Is it like a pencil?
It is not a pencil.
Is it a wallet?
Yes, it's a wallet. Good job. Good job. So that's pretty much the gist of the game, is the clues, and then you just guess what you think the clue leads to.
Genius. Honestly, that is such a fun, ice-breaking game, party game.
Yes.
Great.
The way I have different ways to play, because I actually thought about it with couples in mind, obviously, because if you take a good look at it, the way that the name of the game is, it says, "Oh, that's nasty," and the T on that's actually a heart. So I kept it very close to my business because, I'm in the business of love, and that's what I do. So I came up with different ways to play, and I wanted it to have a way to play with couples that would be fun. And, and I can add it to, some of my packages for the rose petals and massage, and now you have like a little game to play. So that's kind of how I thought about it. And then, basically you can make bets or dares, You can play how you want, and you can do that if they get it wrong, if they get, So I kind of had that in mind when I created the game.
I love that. That is so cool. Like everything just ties together. That's amazing.
Yes, and that is so important in my life. Like people tell me a lot of the times I think about things all the time. I always have ideas going. It's not hard at all to have an idea. But what most people don't realize is they all come full circle. They all tie into each other. So when people, a lot of people that know me, they'll be like, just focus on one thing. I'm like, you don't know how hard that is. I promise you I try. I promise you. I try. It just doesn't happen that way, especially as a writer. I could be writing about one thing and then I'll hear something or something might happen while I'm writing and it will spark another thing. And I have to write that off to the side and then go back and finish what I'm writing. And that's how, like, even my movie ideas come that way. Usually if I'm working, because I do have a regular 9 to 5, so I'm actually a contract worker. And when I'm typing, it's a data entry job. So when I'm typing, I'll have like all these ideas and I have to keep a pen so close by. Like it has to be that way. A pen and a pad right there, because whenever an idea strikes, I want to be ready, and then when I have the time, I just build on the idea. I just take it and I just keep writing it. So I have a couple of movie ideas that I'm working on, some synopsis to some things, so everything is just really fun right now.
And that's so important. And I think like us creative minds, we can get overwhelmed with all of the ideas and forget to have fun. And when you stop having fun, it is so detrimental to every part of your creative process. So I love that you're still having fun with it. Do you have like a routine that you go through like every day, or is it just like you work on things when you have time?
Nope, I work on things when I have time. I do try to make time to write every day because technically I really write every day. And it wasn't intentional. And I know that there are a lot of people that say, put an hour to it. But for me, writing is a part of my everyday life because it's how I get things out. And it's how I make room for more ideas. I have to get, so I have to get them out there in order to get more. And that's kind of just how I live my life.
I love that. I feel like I need to put that on repeat. So and I'm sure, I mean, they happen to everyone. So when you get a creative block, how do you deal with that? What do you do?
So for me, it hasn't quite happened.
No.
Not really. Like, I don't have a situation where I was writing and then I just can't write anymore. But what I do is when I'm writing and I need to have a certain feeling in that time and in that moment, I use music. I use music to sway my feelings. So let's say I'm writing something and it's not getting as dark as I want, or there's not enough pain in it. I'll put on a song that reminds me of something tragic that happened in my life. And then I'll pull that emotion out of me in order to write what I'm trying to write.
Okay.
So that is more so my situation, but it hasn't, like, I haven't had a moment where, I guess I've been writing for so long that I just know what to do and how to get it out, that I really think about it as writer's block, or, oh, now I'm not creative, or I need that time. But I did note that it's important for me to take breaks. It's important when you have so many ideas, and as a creative, I wasn't giving myself enough credit, and I would just keep going and keep going and keep going. And I started to get headaches, and I'm like, why am I getting these headaches? And then I realized, oh, you need to go to sleep or you need to go watch a movie, just just do something that isn't you constantly creating something. So I have been more lenient on myself with, I do have all these ideas and I do feel like there's not enough time in a day to get them all out, but it's okay. And so I've been working on that part for me. It's okay. Go take a break. Go watch a show. It's all right if you watch a show. It's all right if you relax. It's all right if you, spend some time with your family. It's not that I don't, but, give them more time. So
you get the guilt trip going, like, oh, I should be on that. Yeah, we all do that for sure.
Yeah. Whenever I'm watching Netflix, I feel like that. Anytime I'm watching something for too long, I'm like, I could have been writing, I could have been working on this, I could have been doing. And I play that in my mind, and I said that's something that I know I definitely need to work on. That's definitely an area I have to work on and get better at. It's okay. A little R&R is okay. You need to relax. You need to just sit back.
Yeah.
And then the more that you sit back and observe, the more you have to write about.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you got to like turn down that volume button in your head for a little bit.
Yeah, it's a struggle though. I will tell you that it is a struggle sometimes, but I know it needs to be done.
Yeah. And I always say like creativity is a luxury thing. Like our bodies will prioritize other things first. So if like you're feeling stuck with creativity, chances are like you're tired, you didn't eat well that day, like you haven't moved your body, like your brain will pull creativity last. Like it wants to fix everything else first. So breaks are incredibly important.
That makes so much sense. And now whenever I get a headache, I'm gonna be like, let me go find something to eat.
Yeah. Did you
And
drink enough water? Like,
right. Right. For sure.
totally, totally. How do you get inspired?
Oh man. So much stuff inspires me. So my business for Romance Planet is called Inspired Creations. And even the way that it's spelled, in apostrophe SPIRED, and then creations is spelled KRI8IONS. So even down to everything that I do, my whole thing is everything inspires me. So that's why I named my business Inspired Creations, because I'm inspired to create by so many things. Literally, there was a bird just whistling, okay? I'm trying to work and this bird just won't stop. And I literally wrote like a whole thing about it because it was what was on my mind. Or, the lights flickered during a storm, and that got me writing about, a movie, a little thriller for kids, a little monster movie. Since I do have two small children, I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. So, I get to thinking about that and how they're feeling about the lights flickering and it's thundering outside. And they're like, Mommy, the thunder monster is going to get me. So little things that they say, and I'll write it down and create full stories. So I actually have children's books in the works right now, and I have an illustrator working on them. So I'm
Amazing.
always paying attention, keeping my eyes and ears open for every little thing, because they all inspire me to write.
And that helps you stay so present in the moment. I feel like that's probably one of the reasons why you're so fulfilled with what you're doing, is because you're present, because you have to be with your writing and your creativity. Like you have to be in the moment. Otherwise you miss all of those good ideas.
For sure. Oh my goodness. You know how many times I could have been humming something and I'm like, oh shoot, what was I just humming? Because another idea would come, or I'll make up another song. And so as a songwriter, my voice memo is full to the max. I promise you.
Right?
I've had to change my memory card so many times because it's that full. And even when I sing to my kids, I would not say that I'm a singer. So don't even worry. I'm not going to sing for you. But at home, in my shower, when it's just me and my kids, I'm definitely singing. I've been known to make some songs that way. So with my kids, I'll sing anything. I'll sing what I'm doing. If I'm washing dishes or I'm making them a sandwich, I'll make up a song about it. And next thing you know, they'll be singing the song. And so I try to capture it and like make sure I have a phone close by so I can record, because you just never know when something's going to come. And I just cannot stand the idea of letting something slip. I'm like, no, I should have recorded that, because I'm not going to remember it. I have way too much on my mind to remember that one moment. So I try to make sure that I'm ready to catch everything.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I bring this up to every person on my podcast, so the audience is probably like, oh God, not this again. But I bought something called shower notes. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Oh my God.
Shower notes.
Yes, it is a waterproof Post-it notepad that suctions in your shower, and it comes with a waterproof pencil, and
Get
you
out
can
of here.
write down and erase if you need to.
What?
Yes, and you just tear the page off. I like wrote a list for my business the other day, and I have it. It's right next to me. Like,
That's so crazy. You know what? I wanted to get the voice recorders for the shower, because seriously, as a writer, when you're doing something else is when your ideas come.
yep.
If I was just sitting here and, well, for me, if I was just sitting here and I wanted to write, I would write. But sometimes, like I've noticed that if I'm doing something else, that's when the ideas flood. Like it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I cannot write all this. I don't have enough hands, you know. But in the shower, I'm telling you, okay.
There's something with the steam and the warm, and there's just something about a shower that like your brain just goes crazy.
Let me tell you a story. Okay, so it's kind of silly, but I literally made like this whole beat from the water splashing, like hitting the floor and all this stuff. And I literally wrote an entire song, right? I wrote this song to it. And so my kids, I came out, I was still singing it because I kept singing it so I could get to a phone so I could record it so I wouldn't forget how it goes. And as I'm singing it, my daughter, she is like a copycat, a true copycat. She picks up first time, show her one time, and she's doing it. She's 5.
Okay.
So she starts singing the song, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, so I go to record it. Now my 2-year-old son is singing the song, and they're both singing it. And I'm like, that's how I know I have a hit. Whenever my kids sing it, I'm like, okay, if they got it, I need to get this to somebody because it's definitely going to do something, you know, when the little kids are singing it.
Oh yeah.
You know you're onto something. So I said, oh, I love y'all so much. Y'all make me smile. So
Your
that's
entourage back there, little backup vocal.
yeah. And all that from the shower water, it was coming out so weird and hitting like the floor, like the tub floor is so weird. And it was like making this weird sound. So I just was humming to it, and it just created this whole vibe. And I'm like in there like I was full blown having a concert. It was so crazy.
I love that so much.
Yeah,
so raw and it's so real. I think like we can all relate to that in some way.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how many what should we call them? Shower vocalists are out there.
Ooh. I feel like we have a strong group behind us. They're just like not ready to admit it yet.
Hey, we should start a whole group about it. Like, okay, what song did you sing today?
I love that. New Facebook group.
For sure.
Amazing. So, okay, you're incredibly creative. What about your kids? What about like your family? Are you just like this crazy creative in the corner and everyone's just watching you do your thing? Or do you have like an army?
Okay, so I am the 4th born out of 9 children. And even though I'm recognized as the writer, we're all writers pretty much. Just they haven't done as much as me. Like they haven't put themselves out there like I had. So they'll come to me and like, hey, how does this sound and this or whatnot. But I'm going to tell you two stories right now. The first one, when me and my family get together, we have ciphers, which are like, everybody's rapping or whatever. And it's fun. It's silly. And we just make fun of each other, but in a kind way. Nobody's feelings are hurt or anything like that, but it's funny, so we do that, which I love, and I'm like, okay, I got to get my little skills up. They challenge me because you have to think on your toes. You got to, move with it. And it's not like when I write, I have time to think. I have time to see how the words fill the page and see how they, sound with each other. But when you're doing the little ciphers and you're just having fun, everything has to be, quick. So that's that. And then my kids, oh my goodness, they're amazing because my daughter makes up songs just like me. And so my son, since he's only 2, he just wants to do what she does. They're very creative, both of them. They love to draw. They are very in tune to just what's going on around them. So they too make songs just like me. And I
Like
just
your
think,
mama.
yeah, look at them like, oh,
That has to be such an amazing feeling, like seeing your kids have the passion and the love that you have for it in a different, innocent, completely innocent way. But it's
yes.
going to be really exciting to like wonder where they're going to go with it.
I do all the time. My husband is actually a dancer, so they dance with him, and they got, they dance moves, and they got to break it down and do all that stuff. And it's just when I watch them, and I'm just fully engaged in whatever they're doing, because of course they're calling you 1,000 times just so that you can see them. I can't wait to see, the person that you become as you get older and where the creativity will take you. And now that the pandemic has happened and, my daughter is in kindergarten and, she doesn't go to physical school, I'm able to hone in more on her interests. And I think that that's really cool and really important. So we can do more of the things that she likes and that she takes interest in. And acting and dancing are at the top for her. And she loves to sing. So I'm really happy that I'm not happy that the pandemic happened, but I'm happy that you're able now to just be more involved in your children and see how they learn and really be there and pull the best out of them. So I'm excited about that.
Totally. Yes. Like it has been really hard to like go through what we've experienced, but there are so many beautiful things that I have seen come through
Yeah,
this. The amount of families outside playing with each other, like people actually having conversations now, it like just reset and refocused a lot of things.
for sure. And I know that there's still a lot of struggles and there's still a lot of things that we have to overcome just all collectively. But I'm very happy with, as far as me on the inside, I'm happy because if it wasn't for everything that's happened, and of course my mom pushing me, of course, I will always thank her and, you know, for being that support system for me, because there was a time that I did not think that I didn't even used to share. I was so afraid. I would read so fast because I was so nervous. Whenever I get nervous, I read really fast. So it took years, I mean, decades, even a decade and some time to get comfortable enough to read the things that I've written, in public and have people receive it. Cause I was always like, no, this is my place of freedom. I don't want to give up my freedom. I felt like if I become a writer, I'm going to get put in a box. I'm going to have to do whatever whoever says at whatever time, and I won't be free. And this is the only place that I feel free is when I'm writing. I feel like I can say whatever, do whatever. I don't have to worry how the next person is going to feel about what I'm writing because I'm writing for me. And now it has changed a little bit as far as songwriting goes because I'm writing for someone else. So I have to be considerate to what they're looking for and what they want. But it's still my place of freedom. And I have to be conscious about not giving up so much of it that I don't get to be my creative self. So, but if it hadn't been for everything that's happened, I don't know that I would have chose to pursue my God-given talent versus just going full throttle with all the other business ideas that I have, because I have so many
Yeah.
and so much that I'm working on. So I am grateful for that.
What was that shifting point? Because there are so many people that are struggling with that right now. Like they're so scared to get it out into the public. And I know you mentioned like it was a collective of many, many years, but what
Right.
are some like, I guess, things that you did to help overcome that?
So for me, I want to say 2 years, I think it was 2 years ago, on my birthday, for my birthday, I wanted to get more comfortable with giving away pieces of myself. So that's how I look at my writing, is that it's a piece of me. I created this. And back when I was younger, people used to ask me to write and they would want to give it to like their boyfriend or their girlfriend. And I've written for plenty of people, but I've never given anything away. And so I'm like, oh, I did what you asked, but I can't give it to you. And it was such a struggle. And even my dad offered to pay me to have it. And I said, it's not about money. I can't give it to you because I wrote it and I don't want anybody trying to pass my words off as their own. Like, I don't want that.
So
And
it
that's what
was,
I thought.
it wasn't fear of judgment, it was fear of them just like embodying the work that you did.
It was both. It was the fear of judgment if I read to someone and they don't like what I wrote. Mm-hmm. And then it was the fear that they like it so much that now it's theirs. Now, oh, I'm going to give this to this person because that's how I feel about this person or whatever. And I want that, those things. So it was like, so as a way to break out of my own shell and get more comfortable to be able to give things away, because in songwriting, I have to give it away. It's once I write it and the artist performs it and they sing it or they record it, it's no longer mine. If you think about all the artists that are out there, the person that sung the song, mm-hmm. not the person that wrote the song necessarily.
Yeah.
So, and I love the fact that I'm behind the scenes because that's just where I'm most comfortable. So that works for me. It's just that I had to get good and comfortable with the idea of giving it away and no one knowing that I ever didn't, I felt like I had to get comfortable with that. So I started going to open mics in Atlanta and I was just like, okay, I'm going to be so nervous, but I got to do this. Like, I have to get out of the show. I have to get comfortable with this. And I just pushed myself. I kept challenging myself. I said, this is the year of yes. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to do it. If it makes my heart beat fast, I'm doing it. Because that means that I'm nervous as heck and I should do it, right? Yes. So I went to this open mic. Literally, it was the day before my birthday. It was actually her first open mic as well that she wanted to start and she wanted to get into the groove. Now she's up and running and there's a lot of people that perform for her now. But I was the first one.
And is it poetry?
Yes, it's poetry. Oh. Yes, so the open mic was poetry. And it started off as poetry, but it's an open mic now for all forms. People sing and perform comedy and things of that nature. But when I went, it was for poetry. And I got up there nervous and I did my piece and I said, oh, my heart was beating so fast. I'm like, I don't know. I think I need water. I don't know what I need, but
maybe pee your pants a little bit. All of the above.
A little of everything. It's like, where's the sweat coming from? It's not even hot. Like, what's happening? So, but I got up there and they say that each time gets easier. I'm glad that they started having open mics on Instagram because that made it easier. But going on actual stage and having all those eyes on me did not make it easier. No matter how many times I did it, it didn't make it easier for me initially. But now I feel, as far as reading goes and as far as knowing, because I didn't accept before that I was good at it. And that's the thing, because I wasn't doing it for anyone. I was doing it for myself. So I don't, when you write for yourself, you're not sitting there thinking like, oh, I'm just so good at this. You're just getting it out. It doesn't matter like if you're good or bad or whatever. But now it's like, man, do people think I'm good? Am I good at this? Like, I've been told for years that I'm a talented writer, but am I? I don't know. I don't know what people want to hear. I don't know if this is going to resonate with people. And, that being the concern and that being like the thing, because I've had people tell me that I'm not a good writer. They're like, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yep. And it does help build the tough skin because everyone isn't going to like everything. And so that was a good thing for me because I want to challenge myself. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can learn to accept it, I guess, the more that it happens and not take it so personally.
But that's the thing about writing. Mm-hmm. It's personal.
It is. Yeah.
So not taking it personal. I mean, that does help. Once you hear it, you get over it. I'm a big fan of Gary Vee. I call him my online mentor. He doesn't know me. I've never met that man, but I tell you, I get emotional just looking at him. Like, what is he about to say? I'm about to have to check my whole life right now. And that's how I feel. I'm like, I can't bring that to him. He's gonna rip me a new one. I'm not on it. So, and he's never even met me. But I think about that and I'm like, okay, I need to be better and I need to not take everything so personal, regardless if it's good or bad. Even if people are like, oh, you're the best, take everything with a grain of salt and just kind of keep going in my own lane because knowing that I write and I create for me. And if people like it, great. I love it. If people don't like it, great. I still love it. I love what I wrote because I wrote it from my own POV or however I was feeling in that moment or whatever inspired that creation. And I just kind of just been rolling with that. And I really am anxious to see where writing can take me. And I just keep that at the forefront of my mind. Like, I want to see what 100% of me looks like when I put it into something, like on a consistent basis. And that's what is my drive to just keep going and keep doing it, even on days where I'm like, man, this isn't going to work out. I don't know what's going to come of it, when things just kind of feel so in the air and you don't know where they're going to land. Mm-hmm. And you just hope that they land in a place that you want to be. Yeah. Whenever I have those moments, I just think of why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. And I have so many whys that I can't let any of my uncomfort stop me from where I'm trying to go.
You got places to be, girl.
I do. I do.
I love that. Like everything you said is so beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it. So I always I hate to wrap this up because I feel like I could talk to you for hours. We might have to do a part 2 because I have a million other questions I want to ask
you. For sure. I'm down for it.
So I always like to wrap up with a final message for other creatives. But before we do that, I want to give you time to tell people where they can find you.
Okay, sure.
And I will link it as well in the show notes, but so they don't have to memorize anything, but just let them know the different platforms you're on and everything that you do.
Okay, definitely. So you can find me on all social media platforms at HattieB_writing, and that's HATTIEB_WRITIN, and that's on all social media platforms. I do have a podcast called A Lyrical Journey with Hattie B. Writing, and that's pretty much documenting my journey from being just a regular writer or poet to becoming a professional sought-after songwriter. And all the things that I go through in between.
And it's amazing. I've listened to a couple of episodes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My first book that I self-published, is called A Heart Worth Breaking, Volume 1. And that is available on Amazon. My game is called Oh, That's Nasty, But Is It? It's a card game. I don't actually have, unfortunately, I don't actually have a place that is necessarily available. If you reach out to me and hit me up, DM me or something, I can send you the link to purchase it because it's in pre-order stage right now. But that game will be out soon for sure. I don't think what else do I have going on. That's pretty much everything that
in a nutshell for now, right? It'll be different in another 5 months. You'll have 2 more things.
Yes, I actually have a set of children's books that are going to come out at the end of the year. It's a gift set. They're actually lullabies that I created when I was pregnant with my daughter. I used to write letters to her. I used to write letters to my unborn child because with both of my pregnancies, I never wanted to know what their gender was or if it was a boy or girl. So I used to just write unborn. I used to have a book called Letters to My Unborn Child. And at that time, I used to sing lullabies. So I wrote them as stories. And now I have an illustrator working on that to get that out for the end of the year as a gift set because the pandemic is creating a whole bunch of babies.
You know what? That is true. Another good timing right there.
And it's time for some new lullabies. I want to hear some new stuff. The Christmas and lullabies are the 2 things that you don't really have new songs and everything like that. So that's what I've been working on.
I'm sure other moms in the audience listening are taking a mental note as well.
I'm really excited about where this writing is going, about the romance planning, which, by the way, for all romantic needs and gestures, you can also find me at inspiredcreations.com. And that's NSPIREDKRI8IONS.com. I don't know if I said that too fast, but
well, we'll link it either way, so you're good.
good. So that's everything. Which also, Inspired Creations does have its own Facebook page and its own Instagram as well. So
perfect.
That's something else that I got going on.
Perfect. Girl, you are a powerhouse.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Okay. So last wrap-up question.
Yes.
If you have one message for other creatives, and we have creatives across the board, we have writers, we have photographers, tattoo artists, musicians, I mean, all different kinds listening. So what is just one message that maybe that you want to tell them that maybe you wish you knew, or just something helpful?
So one message that I would say to all creatives is to do it for you. It's really important that you create because it's something that you want to do, and that's something that you're pushed to do, because when it's something that you're not dedicated to or you don't have passion or drive for, it does not come out the same, and it's not as authentic as something that you create because that's what you wanted to create. And regardless of how people will receive it, if they do or don't receive it, that isn't what's important. What's important is that the creativity came from you, because there's somebody that I like, Prince. I love Prince as a performer, as a singer, and everything. He made his music based off of what he liked. It just so happened that all these other people like it, and you'll find your tribe of people that like what you do.
I love it. Everyone's so wrapped up in being original in this world, and it's like there's no other you on this planet. You just have to be yourself, and you're so right. Your tribe will come.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is that a friend of mine actually had to remind me that when it comes to business, because they say there are no new things under the sun, but even if somebody creates, let's say somebody creates a chip, that doesn't mean that they're going to season it how you would season it. So you always got to put your own finished touches on things, or your own seasoning, I should say. You always got to season it yourself, and nothing's going to come like how you're going to do it. Even if there's 1,000 people doing it, they still aren't you. And how you're going to do it might just be the thing that outshines all those thousands of people. You just never know. That's why you have to stay true and authentic to yourself.
Definitely. Make that chip, girl.
Yep. That's my next thing. I'm making chips.
Special seasoning coming.
It's been such a pleasure talking to you. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thank you. This was so much fun. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing night.
Thanks, Katie. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, that wraps up another episode of Intentional Harmony, Creative Clarity. I hope you laughed and just completely enjoyed listening to Hattie talk about her dreams, her ideas, and her creativity. Her information is linked below, so I have already pre-ordered her card game. I highly recommend you send her a message and order that too. It definitely sounds like a lot of fun. If you would like more information on me and creativity coaching, or just to chat, you can find me on social media, Instagram at KatieAnne.coaching, or Facebook, KatieAnne Coaching. Or you can go to my website at KatieAnneCoaching.com, where you can find more episodes of this podcast, information on what creativity coaching is, and just some helpful tips and tricks for your creative process. Again, I really appreciate you tuning in every episode and listening. I'd absolutely love if you left feedback. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and leave a review, or just send me a message and let me know what you're enjoying about this. I really want to make sure these podcasts are tailored to you as an audience so that I can bring you relevant things that are going on in your life and in your creative process every single week. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Intentional Harmony, Creative Clarity.